I was just hurt from my previous relationship. I think I still was dealing with a lot of unforgiveness and all that sort of stuff. So
Justin Bieber still has Selena Gomez's tattoo. Yes, that exact portrait everyone keeps talking about. And today we're ripping straight into why it's still showing up in photos, what Justin actually said about trying to hide it, and how tattoos, health, and timing explain the whole saga. Over the next 11 minutes, I'll break this into 5 tight chapters. Origin, cover-up attempts, the body as canvas mindset, timeline with new ink and health, and the real takeaway for fans and creators. If you want raw celeb deep dives, smash like and subscribe now. No fluff, just receipts. Let's jump in. Right away, this chapter is the origin. The moment the tattoo became a headline, not just a personal piece of ink. Years back, Justin Bieber got a portrait-style tattoo on a visible part of his arm that fans quickly connected to Selena Gomez. It wasn't some vague symbol or tiny
relationship with her, it has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing, and if she ever needs me, I'm gonna be here for her. But
modeled off a professional photo shoot image of Selena that had been circulating online. That matters. Portrait tattoos are inherently
changing, and I don't know, I think that's what I want it to be.
Detailed. Facial lines, shadows, and defining features make them far easier for an audience to identify than a random doodle. So, what happened next? The portrait moved from private body art to a public talking point because of context. Justin's relationship with Selena was already highly visible. Every picture, caption, and headline was being analyzed. Add a portrait on a visible limb, and you invite pattern seeking. Fans and paparazzi will notice, compare, and then amplify. The tattoo didn't just exist on skin. It became a symbol people used to shorthand an entire era of his life. That's how a single image turned into countless threads, reaction videos, memes, and listicles, all pointing to the same question: why is the portrait still visible? There's also a practical reason this stayed sticky. Portraits are hard to hide convincingly. If the original tattoo is detailed and has clear facial features, small changes, shading, or layering often leave recognizable traces. Unlike a tiny name or a date, faces have lines that create an unmistakable silhouette. Even when artists try to alter direction, the brain fills in gaps. People who follow celebrity fashion and ink know this. Covering a portrait often requires a major redesign or multiple laser sessions, not a single fix. Finally, the portrait's provenance, that it echoed a widely seen photo shoot image, made recognition easier for casual observers. When a lot of people know the reference picture, it becomes communal. More eyes, more opinions, more speculation. That's the origin loop. A public relationship plus a clear portrait tattoo plus a visible placement equals a cultural story that refuses to quietly disappear. Next up, how Justin and tattoo artists actually tried to handle the portrait, the attempted cover-ups, the public comments, and why those attempts didn't kill the conversation. Quick reminder, if you're liking this breakdown, here's where the story gets technical and a little awkward. Justin didn't just ignore the Selena portrait. He openly admitted there were attempts to change it, and that admission is the reason this chapter kept bubbling in the media. The core fact: someone tried to alter the portrait rather than fully erase it. That choice, alter, not remove, frames everything that followed. Let's be clear about the methods. When artists try to fix a portrait tattoo, the most common moves are shading, relining, or adding elements to disrupt the original face. Those techniques can blur features, darken areas, and make the old image less legible at a glance. But portrait tattoos are tricky. Faces are high-information images. Tiny changes to a nose line or an eye can still leave a silhouette your brain recognizes. So even when shading is applied, people who know the reference image can still see the shape and keep talking. Justin's own comments made the moment more public. In interviews, he acknowledged attempts to obscure the design. He talked about trying different approaches and later joked/defended his collection as a whole. That candor did two things. It showed he wasn't pretending the ink didn't exist, and it gave reporters a quotable line that fueled more clips, memes, and reaction videos. The attempted cover-up, therefore, became part confession, part cultural moment. Fans and critics reacted predictably. Some praised the honesty, adulting, owning your past. Others use the failed cover-up as clickbait. Rich guy can't remove ex's face, headlines that ignore the technical realities. Meanwhile, tattoo enthusiasts wade in with the technical nuance. Covering a portrait convincingly often requires a full redesign or laser removal over multiple sessions. A partial cover-up can make a face look distorted, which actually keeps it more noticeable in photos and close-ups. There's also psychology at play. When a celebrity acknowledges an attempt to hide something, people naturally scrutinize the result. The human brain loves patterns, and confirmation bias does the rest. Once you expect to see Selena's face, you'll find trace lines that match, even if the tattoo artist's goal was to disrupt them. Okay, so we've seen the portrait, the attempted cover-up, and why that fix didn't fully erase recognition. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Justin's tattoos aren't random souvenirs. They're part of a visible philosophy. He's repeatedly described his body as a canvas, even posting about over 100 hours of work and saying he loves art and wouldn't take back a single piece. That line changes the lens completely. When someone treats tattoos as an evolving artwork, every piece is a chapter in a long visual book. Removing one page from that book isn't just about erasing an old memory, it's about altering the overall composition. Creators who curate public personas often think in terms of balance, texture, and continuity. A portrait that was once an emotional marker can also be an important element of the visual rhythm on a forearm or chest. So the decision to remove or radically rework that portrait isn't merely sentimental, it's aesthetic and strategic. There's also real psychology behind. I wouldn't take any of them back. For many public figures, tattoos mark stages of life. They show growth, mistakes, experiments, and triumphs. Publicly owning every mark can communicate authenticity. I've lived, I've learned, and this is part of that journey. That posture can be protective. Admitting the ink remains while framing it as part of your art removes some of the scandal's sting. But let's be honest, artistic pride doesn't erase practical friction. Reworking detailed tattoos often involves multiple sessions, possible compromise in look, and if you go the removal route, pain, time, and cost. Even with resources, people weigh whether scrubbing a piece is worth disrupting the cohesion of their overall body art. And for someone with a global platform, every change is scrutinized and dissected, so the calculus includes PR and personal identity. By now, we've talked about the portrait's origin, the failed cover-up, and Justin's body as canvas philosophy. But there's a practical reason this Selena-inspired piece has survived: timing. When you look at the timeline from 2018 onward, it's clear that other priorities, artistic and personal, kept removal on the back burner. Let's break that down. In 2020, Justin dropped Changes, followed by Justice in 2021. That's 2 back-to-back major album cycles with tours, promotion, and music videos, the kind of schedule where every week is booked. For an intricate laser removal or a multi-session redesign, you need not just the cash, which he has, but the recovery windows in between. Each removal session can leave redness, swelling, or temporary scarring, not ideal for someone in front of HD cameras daily. Then came the 2022 curveball. Justin publicly revealed he was battling Ramsay Hunt syndrome, a rare neurological condition that partially paralyzed his face. That's not just a scary health scare, it's an all-hands-on-deck moment. Touring paused, rehab and recovery became top priority, and any optional cosmetic work, including tattoo removal, moved way down the list. Health comes first, even for celebrities. Meanwhile, he didn't stop adding ink. In March 2023, fans noticed a delicate rose tattoo, rumored by some to reference Selena, though others argue it's simply part of his floral motifs. Around the same period, Justin debuted a bold, forever neck tattoo, perfectly complementing Hailey's ink. This contrast, keeping the Selena portrait but adding declarations for Hailey, shows how his tattoo story is additive, not subtractive. Instead of erasing, he layers new meaning over time. So here we are. After all the ink sessions, the headlines, and the fan theories, Justin Bieber's Selena Gomez tattoo is more than just a leftover from an old relationship. It's a case study in how celebrities craft, manage, and sometimes let their personal stories evolve in public view. Tattoos, especially visible ones, act like narrative anchors. For fans, they freeze a moment in time. The romantic highs, the tabloid drama, the Instagram clues. But for the celebrity wearing them, those tattoos can shift meaning. What began as a love declaration can transform into a symbol of growth, a reminder of lessons learned, or simply a piece of art that no longer needs to be emotionally charged. In Justin's case, keeping that portrait, even after cover-up attempts failed, sends a message. My past is part of my story, but it doesn't define my present. That's a deliberate framing, whether conscious or not. Celebrities know fans and media will spin narratives around visible
She doesn't owe
symbols.
me anything.
By not erasing the Selena piece,
I don't owe
Justin gives space
neither of
for
us owe anybody
speculation,
anything
but
except like
he also subtly controls the frame. He's not running from the past, but layering new commitments, like the forever neck tattoo for Hailey, over it.